Live from WSLS, this is 10 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Patrick McKee.
And I'm Megan Woods. Hurricane Laura is now a Category 1 storm. It's weakening and moving into Arkansas after pounding through Texas and Louisiana overnight.
Take a look at all of this damage from Lake Charles, Louisiana, where it looks like houses are just inundated with water. You can see tons of it, boats being flopped around. This water coming up the Calcasieu River and covering over portions of I-10 even. A lot of damage being left in its wake. NBC's Chris Pallone rode out the storm in Lafayette, Louisiana. This storm is still dumping a whole lot of rain across northern parts of Louisiana, and it's going to make a turn toward us eventually.
Well, let's check in with Delaney to see what's going on.
Absolutely. That is still a very strong hurricane at this point, but it is just barely a hurricane.
New at noon, 2 Danville men charged with the death of their 2 babies had their first appearances before a judge this morning. 10 News reporter Annie Schroeder is out of the courthouse and has new information on these cases.
Both 22-year-old fathers are facing the same charges for allegedly killing their young children and are currently being held at the Danville City Jail.
With 68 days till Election Day, all eyes are on the White House tonight as President Trump accepts the Republican nomination. And as Tracy Potts explains, he's delivering a high-profile speech with the nation in turmoil. Watch the final night of the Republican National Convention tonight at 10 right here on WSLS 10. The number of coronavirus cases continues to climb in the Commonwealth. The Department of Health reporting more than 116,500 cases, an increase of 1,121. The department also reporting 12 additional deaths, bringing the total number since the pandemic began to 2,527. All month, our Clear the Shelters campaign has helped pets find a home. Instead of photos, today we take you inside a shelter. Clear the Shelters doesn't end until August 31st, but Montgomery County Animal Care and Adoption Center has adopted nearly 100 pets. The shelter still has several animals looking for a family, and many of them are seniors. Thanks to the Friends of the Animal Care and Adoption Center, those adoption fees for senior pets are taken care of.
If you're interested or if you haven't adopted before, just give us a call and talk to one of our staff members. We'd be happy to talk you through it, and we can help match you with the perfect animal.
Find the best pet for your family at WSLS.com/cleartheshelters. In today's health headlines, if you have trouble falling asleep or just want a more restful one once you do, what you drink could affect that. Mandy Gaither guides us to some helpful drinks for bedtime.
It's the idea of a warm glass of milk to help you sleep.
If you're having trouble sleeping, make sure to consult your physician. Not all heroes wear capes, but sometimes their selfless actions speak for themselves.
For one 6-year-old in Anchorage, Alaska, that means putting colored pencil to paper in an effort to raise money for one of his favorite places, the Alaska Sea Life Center. Kristen Duran shares his story.
Hi, I'm the leader source. Today I'm reviewing We Are on Dinosaur Adventures.
I love his passion.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So sweet, too.
Absolutely. Now, supporters can score a piece of Evan's original artwork simply by donating directly to the Sea Life Center and then sending a screenshot to his Readerosaurus Facebook page with their address. The Caners say no donation is too small.
Time off to take care of your family, especially during this pandemic. The new law making it easier.
This is 10 News at Noon, working for you.
At least one person dead, roads flooded, trees and power poles uprooted, and buildings destroyed. Laura continues its destruction as a now Category 1 hurricane.
But some of the damage is just incredible to see, as this was a Category 4 storm at landfall earlier this morning. Authorities warn it is still dangerous. Laura slammed ashore early this morning, lashing the Louisiana and Texas coast with torrential rain and a storm surge the National Hurricane Center described as unsurvivable. It also had 150-mile-per-hour winds. According to Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards, a 14-year-old girl has died in Leesville. That's more than 100 miles inland from the coast due to a fallen tree. More than 500,000 people were under mandatory evacuation orders, and most of those people paid attention. Early on, it was clear many things would not be the same after this storm.
This storm is going across the state and it's gone through some of the poorest areas where the houses are not built for this type of high wind.
Right now, about 500,000 people in the region are without power, most of them in Louisiana. Power companies said crews from 20 states are in the area and are going out to get things back up and running. Although not a power company, Foster Fuels in Brookneal sent more than 45 fuel trucks to areas affected by Laura to help in the recovery process.
Earlier this morning, 95% of Calcasieu Parish, which is where Lake Charles is, was in the dark. That's going to take quite a while to get that power restored to everybody. And because of the potential impacts of Hurricane Laura or its remnants by the time it gets here this weekend, the Roanoke Wing Fest at Dr. Pepper Park was scheduled for Saturday. That has been moved now to Sunday. You were covering this earlier this week, and it's going to be worth the wait.
Definitely worth the wait. I can think of the wings right now. That's
making
all that's on my
me
mind.
hungry, right?
Yeah. Well, let's check in with Delaney to see when it is going to rain.
It's not going to be moving into our area until this weekend.
Protesters have been taking to the streets since Sunday's police shooting of a Wisconsin man. And now John Lawrence explains how the sports world is getting involved by not suiting up.
The National Basketball Association is protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake.
Listen, 3 cops, 1 guy, there's got to be a better way than him getting shot in the back 7 times.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
We just received a AP alert saying that the NBA players will continue in the playoffs. Kenosha police say a suspect has been arrested in Tuesday's night shooting that killed 2 people and injured another person. 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Meanwhile, Jacob Blake remains hospitalized. The police officer who shot him is on leave. The number of coronavirus cases continues to climb in the Commonwealth. The Department of Health reporting more than 116,500 cases, an increase of 1,121. The department also reporting 12 additional deaths, bringing the total number since the pandemic began to 2,527. Figuring out how to balance working while kids are learning remotely or on a hybrid schedule can be difficult, and it could be even harder if there's a sudden change of plans, like what we saw this week in Radford when they shut schools down for the week. But you can take paid time off thanks to a new law. Todd Leeson is with Gentry Locke Attorneys and represents employers. He says the Families First Coronavirus Response Act covers 2 main things: paid sick leave up to 80 hours if you have to miss work for a COVID-related reason. For example, you're told to quarantine, and the Emergency or Enhanced Family and Medical Leave Act, like missing work because you have to care for a child or someone else who is sick. That's up to 12 weeks at 2/3 of your pay. Leeson is telling companies to be creative with employees, doing things like intermittent leave or letting them work different hours.
I understand these are unusual times. While you don't want to be taken advantage of, these are real issues with parents wanting to care for their children.
So what does that mean for students who aren't actually in the classroom for school or on a hybrid schedule? We'll break down your rights tonight in Education Matters. A 10 News favorite looks a little different this year. Over the years, we've been able to find hundreds of local pets a home with the Clear Shelters event. And this year, that day has turned into an entire month. Meet Bronson, and don't let his size fool you. He has the most gentle and calm demeanor. At 6 years old, he enjoys going on car rides and does well on walks. He knows his basic commands, so that means he is very treat motivated. This sweet boy is the perfect couch companion and could lay with you for hours and get belly rubs. Bronson is just one of many pets that need a home. To find the right fit for you or to learn more about Bronson, head to WSLS.com/cleartheshelters. In today's health headlines, the 6-foot social distancing rule may not be enough to stop the spread of COVID-19. Scientists say the current rule is based on outdated science and other factors need to be considered. That includes type of activity, exposure time, ventilation, indoor versus outdoor settings, and whether face coverings are worn. They say some evidence suggests that droplets could possibly carry the virus more than 6 feet through activities like shouting and coughing. As a result, 6 feet should be just a starting point, and highest risk situations may need more distancing. New data shows the rate of children testing positive for COVID-19 continues to increase. The American Academy of Pediatrics says so far a total of nearly 443,000 pediatric cases of COVID-19 have been reported. Children represent over 9% of all cases, but over 74,000 new child cases were reported between August 6th and August 20th. That's about a 21% increase in just over 2 weeks. If you felt distressed over coronavirus, you're not alone. A new study finds Google searches that mentioned panic attack or anxiety attack skyrocketed at the beginning of the pandemic. The largest increases happened with the rollout of social distancing guidelines. The recommendation of face masks and the U.S. surpassing China with the most reported cases. Searches returned to normal levels by mid-April. To put it in perspective, there were about 3.4 million searches related to severe anxiety over the first 58 days of the pandemic.
The PGA may want to start making way for a new young star.
Watch this 4-year-old tee up at a course near Wheeling, West Virginia earlier this week. His dad, Mario, took him out to a par 3 course, which for an experienced golfer is typically not the hardest kind of course. But remember, Rocco is only 4 years old.
Rocco hit a hole-in-one, and he couldn't believe it. So he ran down the hill to get a closer look. There he goes.
He swings right-handed with a left-handed grip, and it works for him. So I don't think we're going to switch it. But the past couple of years, it's been really fun just watching him develop really his love for the game, because he spends a lot of time out here in the yard hitting golf balls.
Rocco's family is just thrilled golf is an activity fathers and sons can enjoy together. Well, really everyone, the entire family.
Yeah. I think I'd have been like him. I think I'd have run down the hole just to make sure.
Right.
That's an incredible shot.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Look at the distance.
Yeah.
Well, we keep running all these stories about all these young kids who can do all these things. I'm like, I was still just, I wasn't doing anything at that age.
I'm 29 plus and I still can't do that.
See, exactly.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Final update on this forecast is we are getting hot again.
Yes, we are. Today, temperatures in the 90s once again. 92 here in Roanoke, back towards the New River Valley, running just slightly cooler down into the 80s. Your 7-day forecast, though, keeping our temperatures in the 90s through tomorrow. And then, of course, we start to bring in Laura. That's going to bring our temperatures back into the 80s with more rain chances. Looking very good on Saturday. Guys.
Tonight on 10 News at 5, the Centers for Disease Control now says you may not have to be tested if you've been exposed to the coronavirus. How local health officials are reacting as we see COVID-19 cases in our schools. Tonight at 5. That is our time together here at noon. We thank you for spending part of your lunch hour with us.
And be sure to join us at 5 for our 90 minutes of local news.